Welcome to the 70th Northern Ireland Ploughing Championships at this coastal setting outside Bushmills and beside the Giant's Causeway. Undeterred by horrendous weather, today the Young Farmers Clubs of Ulster's members have travelled from across the province to compete in either one or both of the competitions taking place. The first competition is the fencing, which sees nearly 30 teams competing. Teams of 3 will take on the gruelling task over 3 hours to complete a stock-proof fence. We have 2 levels. Those participating in the novice section will be asked to complete a 20-metre stock-proof fence. Each fence will have both the sheep wire and barbed wire joined by traditional methods at some point in the fence. But those participating in the advanced section will be expected to complete a 27-metre stock-proof fence with a corner or bend at a predetermined point. Both the sheep wire and the barbed wire must be joined at the centre of the smaller section using traditional methods.
Well, today we had to build a 20-metre straight face with some traditional joins in the middle, using obviously traditional methods, and it was a really good experience. I learned lots of new skills today. My normal job is a nurse, so fencing is really different. I've now learned how to use a hammer very effectively. We have a fence that needs put up at the Young Farmers Hall, so we're going to see if we can maybe have a wee go at that as well. And just, any day I need a fence, I can always build one now.
Personally, I think we've done not too bad. We got the fence finished at least. Field conditions were good. We didn't hit any obstacles in the ground and whatnot, so I say we got it finished and whatnot, so not too bad.
Today it's very windy and wet, so it isn't. To do the competition, I was competing in the advanced section. There's 3 of us in the team. I had to do a 27-metre fence with a bend and had 2 joins on it. I use the skills every day on a farm studio which I work at locally in Ballywalter, and use it in the competition every year as well.
The judges will look at teamwork throughout the 3 hours, and they will then score the finished product looking at the start and finish of wire, the strainers and stays, where they are positioned and if they're securely in place, wire joins, wire tension, fence line, steeple placement and overall appearance.
Warden Boyd, who are the company that I work for, are the agents for Beta Fence, who manufacture the wire, and we've been involved in this competition now for over 20 years. We're very proud to be involved with this competition, and we see the people here participating as representing the future of fencing in the years to come. A lot of these guys will become fencing contractors and make a living from fencing. So we're very proud to be involved with these guys. It's almost like a training day for a lot of them. Crosby Cleland, who is our judge and instructor on the day, goes round giving them tips and various pieces of instruction as the day goes on. And yes, it's very much an education as well as a competition. Well, I've been involved with Warden Boyd now for 26 years, so I've been selling wire for 26 years. Our green wire came in the early 1990s, and that gives additional protection. We offer a 20-year guarantee with the wire, and we're seen very much as market leaders.
The fencing competition is one of the most competitive competitions the YFCU has to offer. It's more than a competition, it's a training course with qualified instructors supervising and offering advice and feedback to the teams.
30 years, that's how long we've been really doing this training. But if you saw it 30 years ago compared to the really good fences there are now, the whole of the fencing in Northern Ireland has improved because the young farmers are going forward with the right ideas. And I think the lovely part about this competition, if you take this team behind us, only 2 of them arrived out today. The other person got involved in something else, couldn't make it. One of the other teams is slotting in, an experienced fencer. But it's all about training. That's the whole background to the fencing here. And every year, different teams moving from the junior stage up into the senior stage. There's some of them still trying to stay down the junior stage. It's simpler, they reckon, because they've made it more difficult up here by putting a corner into it, whereas it's a simple straight fence down here. But when we're judging it, the main part are the strainers at each end. We're judging out the most points within that. Then we look at the tension of the wire, and after that it's the whole appearance. But at the end of the day, it has to be a stock-proof fence. Animals don't get through. So that these young lads can all go onto their home farm or some other farm and leave a really good fence in place. We are we're encouraging them to be safer and safer. Health and safety is a big thing now on the farm. And The tools they're using now, we don't actually allow them to use chainsaws at this, because the guys with the chainsaws, if they're using somebody else's, they must have a certificate of competence. We're allowing them to use a sledge only for things down in the struts. When they're doing the big strainers, they're using the boxes to hammer them down onto it, and 2 or 3 round it. But yes, the health and safety has been put across them. I mean, we're not always at the stage where we're insisting gloves. We can't go to that extreme. A wee bit of blood and fencing is just barbed wire, that's what happens, but nothing major. It's a competition. At the end of the day, the pride of the guys that win. Now, there's a lot of questions asked afterwards why they don't win, or, you know, it's just questioned. But the comradeship between the teams, you can see it. The guys are there. It's very hard. You're going to get 4 real good ones in each section, and it's very hard to. One year it actually came down to the angle of the steeples. The tension was tremendous. The struts were brilliant. The strainers were well in, and one guy had all the steeples twisted the same way. I mean, there's another feature, twisting the steeple, so when they put it in, when the post dries out, it dries out in a different grain. If you put it in straight, that dries out, the steeple falls out quicker. The angle they put them in, all these are covered. Oh, it's tremendous. And as I say, they're actually teaching each other.
Members who have begun by competing for fun in this training competition have gone on to make careers for themselves. Earlier in the week, we met up with professional fencer Alan Angus, a member of Ballywalter YFC.
7 years ago, we for the first time we entered the Northern Ireland fencing competition run by headquarters. We entered it the first year, and we got a shock to the system on how competitive and physical the work actually was. And then we went back 5 years after that, and on 2007 we won the competition joint with another club, and then in 2009 we won it outright. Well, I always did a bit of fencing around home and for a couple of other farmers, and then just demand for it, so I decided to go out on our own, set up a business and start fencing around the countryside, and it has just escalated from that onwards. I'm involved with Ballywalter Young Farmers, basically through sponsorship for their local club, for their hoodies and just other things that they might need a bit of sponsorship for. Very keen on helping them in anything we can at all.
Back at the Ploughing Championships, and the second of the competitions is underway. This is the annual soil assessment competition, which is run in conjunction with Tesco. The competition asks members to assess and judge a sample of soil. A large hole is dug so that competitors get to see the layers that make up the soil. They are then asked various questions on the features of topsoil, the subsoil, including the structure and drainage, and the suitability of the soil for arable use. Each competitor gets 10 minutes to assess the soil, and then they must present their findings to the judge.
What we're looking for in the competition is for the competitors to be able to tell us, once they've identified the soil, what are the important aspects about managing this type of soil. So we'll be looking for them to tell us about maybe the possible cropping uses for this type of soil, how they would avoid soil compaction problems, and what nutrient and pH measures they would take to look after the soil and make the most of the soil. There'll be some questions for them, and there'll be a chance for them to discuss with us what they know about it and put across, what they think they would do with the soil. Soil is one of our most valuable resources here, so it's important that young farmers do know what they're working with and how to get the best out of what they're working with.
The soil assessment competition is a great competition in the young farmers. It allows an arable farmer like myself to get a sort of foothold in the competitions, which are mostly swung towards dairying, which is the largest sector of the industry in Northern Ireland. It's great. It gets the individual into the hole in the ground. It's a 6 foot deep hole. You get in there, you look at the soil structure, the different medians in it, judge it and do things like that. You describe to the judges what type of crops you can grow in it and how you grow them, best practices, worst practices. It really is a good in-depth knowledge into the soil. And the judges are great because they give you feedback at the end. And for myself, this is my 3rd year doing it. I was lucky enough to win it last year. But the feedback in itself is worthwhile for me coming here on a wet day to learn, because I can take that home and say to myself, oh, there's my soil, it's a wee bit like that, but I'm doing something wrong. Adjust it and hopefully get my soil in the better state of mind for the future. So it's great.
And a very wet and windy day draws to a close with the prize winners as follows. Thanks for watching, and if you've got any comments, of course, get involved on Facebook or Twitter. We'll see you next time.